Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Friday Free for All. Let's get your questions down below. Man is behind the scenes working as the moderator. As usual, he's got that big blue wrench, making sure everyone plays nice. But we got some interesting things to talk about. It's been a hell of a week, folks. The election was last week. This week, Trump is doing his appointees, and the left is continuing to melt down. You, my friends, if you're here with me live on the thepreparedmind.club or subscribestar.com, you can ask questions right now live. We're live, and live again. Anyways, I'm going to start off with a couple of fuck you cards. The cute little actress that played Snow White has now apologized. That's right, folks. She's apologized for what? Did she get up from dinner without asking to be excused? Did she not help Cinderella do the dishes? No, folks. She said that she hoped that Trump supporters, that's me and you, should never know peace. Meaning we should always know anguish and hurt and misery and war. You know, Disney's been going downhill since Walt Disney died. And it just keeps getting worse. So, in my opinion, this little bitch, she gets a stack of go fuck yourself cards from me. And as many as you want to send her as well. And the left is losing it, folks. Lots and lots of that. I'm telling you. In fact, I've got another stack of fuck you cards for the editor-in-chief of Scientific American. Aren't scientists supposed to be critical thinking? Aren't they supposed to be factual based? No emotions allowed. It's science. It's cut and dry. Here's the facts. Well, the editor-in-chief of Scientific American hates patriots, hates you and me, hates Trump supporters. Guess what this dumb bitch called us? She said we're racist, we're sexist, and we're fascists. Oh, liberals are such assholes. They really are. They don't even see that they're every bit as racist and more, because they're always looking for race. They're every bit as sexist as us and more. Now, what does sexism mean? Thinking you're superior than a gender, right? Well, they make transgender, women who are actually men, women with dicks, chicks with dicks, they are sexist against women and favor that. Isn't that what sexism is? It's like me as a man making a sexist comment about women. Well, what are the Democrats doing? As far as fascism goes, let's see. Trump didn't pay people to show up at his rallies. Nope. No one showed up at Trump's rallies for money. But they did show up to Kamala Harris's rallies for money, from Eminem to all the other whores that showed up with their hand out looking for money. That's right. It's that simple. It's that simple. Right. Anyways, back to the editor-in-chief of Scientific American. She can go fuck herself. Really. That you can have a meltdown all you want, but you get to own it. You get to own it. So anyways, the editor-in-chief has now stepped down, canceled herself. That's right, canceled herself. I'm loving it every step of the way, loving the liberal tears, loving the meltdowns. Oh, it's good stuff. It really is. Man, I don't know if we've got a good selection of questions that you want to just throw at me yet. Just go ahead and let me know, and we'll roll, and we'll start with you. There you go. Uman says Walt, as in Walt Disney, was a little questionable as well. Go back and watch some of those old black and white cartoons with an adult's eye. Um, there's a lot of that. Uh, Shrek, right? If you watch Shrek as an adult, you're entertained for entirely different reasons than kids are entertained, right? They think it's funny when Shrek farts, but there's a lot of jokes for us adults in there. So I wonder, yeah, have they all along in Disney and Bugs Bunny cartoons and kids movies, has there always been like jokes for adults and messages for those with eyes to see and ears to hear? We're learning quite a bit about Hollyweird, about the entertainment industry, and about, let's just be blunt, and about Satanism, the worship of evil, the willingness to do evil. It's really, to me, it's awful. It is just awful. It's everywhere. Anyways, yeah, what was just a little bit questionable, I guess. Uh, once you see the how do we put this? Once you see the phallic representations in the cartoons, you can't unsee them. You just are like, oh man, how can you not see that? Is it just how things are, or was it done on purpose? In any event, let's continue if we shall. Chin Music up. He's here. He says all the Trump rally speakers donated their time. Right? They're not fascists. They weren't buying time with Trump. They were donating their time. Elon Musk doesn't want any money. Neither does Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, Elon Musk, he came out and he said no more government subsidies for electric vehicles. Well, what does he sell? Electric vehicles. So he is telling the government, stop subsidizing and paying for my company. I found that to be absolutely fascinating. So if he wanted to, he could have said, hey, we need more EVs, and so we need bigger subsidies, if he was serving himself. But I think he is honest about being there for the right reasons. It at least has that appearance on its face. Anyways, yeah, Trump rally speakers, we're going to talk a little bit more about them here. In fact, I'm just going to jump right into this right now. It was a huge surprise. Sylvester Stallone came out of the closet, not as a homosexual, folks. Nope, he's not a faggot. He's not a butt pirate. But he did come out of the closet as a Make America Great Again supporter. That's right. Sly Stallone showed up, surprised everyone at Mar-a-Lago with an appearance, and he praised Trump. He didn't just show up and sit there. He praised Trump as a second George Washington. It was quite incredible to make that statement. I think that's a heck of a characterization for someone, because Trump didn't lead an army to fight against the British to the death. But Trump did, as I believe Javier Milei said, put himself in harm's way, right? Crazy business. But I'm guessing that Sly and old Arnold can't be pals anymore, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger says, screw your freedoms, right? And quite differently, Stallone is humbled with Trump, and he's gracious. What an interesting world it's turning out to be as we watch the fallout from the election and the process. AOC and many liberals in politics and entertainment are removing their pronouns. I remember months and months and months ago, Lily told me that all this woke shit is unsustainable. And I agreed with her. I said, yeah, I agree with you. It's unsustainable, but how long can it sustain? Well, it's dying very quickly on the vine. Funny how when you have fruitcakes in office, fruitcakes pretend like they run the world, own the world. Fruitcakes are getting kicked out of the office. Everyone puts on a different hat. They pretend to be someone different. I just wish people in the world could be more genuine, honest with who they are. I think I've been the same loudmouth a-hole since I came on here at the end of 2013. Been here for over 10 years now with you guys, watching things get worse and worse, watching shit at the fan, watching government try and destroy our lives. It's incredible, folks. What a trip, what a struggle, what an adventure, and what a mess we've got on our hands. All right, Mr. Uman, let's do another question, comment, thought out of the crowd. And we've got name redacted. And he says, a necessary superpower is keeping your head while everyone around you is losing theirs. It applied in France and it applies in SHTF. I tell you what, very true statement. So what's my superpower? Just being me. But I know what you mean. Staying calm, analyzing, being critical, being aware, not getting out of control with your emotions. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I've had a few emotional outbursts in my time. But when something like this happens, you can see who you can follow, who you can trust, right? And in an emergency, in a dire situation, you don't want the boss. You don't want the leadership. You don't want them losing their cool and going nuts. And it's incredible. That's what the left does. Whether it's television with The View, Whoopi and Joy. Isn't that funny? Their names are Whoopi and Joy, but they're the least joyful and they're Whoopi-less. They're just incredible, hate-filled, unhappy hags. But yeah, I mean, that's just it, right? They have emotional breakdowns. These Congress people are having complete emotional breakdowns. The media has had incredible emotional breakdowns. They've lost their head. But I've enjoyed sitting back and just keeping my cool and watching. Right? And you can improve that. If you realize that you get a little bit out of hand sometimes, you can control your behavior. It's certainly in an emergency situation a very important thing to have. Right? There's a time when you can celebrate and be kind of crazy and get loose, and then there's when you need to be, I'm going to use the word stoic. You need to be within, your right mind. For example, the chainsaw, Javier Milei, the president of Argentina. He campaigned very energetically, was elected president, carried that energy into his office, right? But he's a very serious guy. So like Trump, he's very energetic, but he's also very serious. Anyways, Javier Milei goes to Mar-a-Lago, right? Not to Washington, D.C. Mr. Smith didn't go to Washington, D.C. Mr. Milei went to Mar-a-Lago. And he joined Trump and Musk and others at the America First Policy Gala, a big get-together dinner and everything. And, apparently Argentina and now Trump are talking about pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord, getting out of the United Nations, getting away from all of this bullshit. It's incredible to see this guy come up here because Milei he has this infectious enthusiasm for liberty. And so, there's times to be serious and I'm just taking this comment here. There's time to be serious and there's times to have a good time, right? To just let it out. Just like, yes, let it out. So Milei, right, he danced the YMCA dance. He laughed and greeted all as compatriots. So just remember, folks, yeah, when shit hits the fan and it gets nasty, we need to keep our head on our shoulders. And we're watching how people lose it. And they're going to keep losing it. And they're going to make bad decisions. And they're going to keep making bad decisions. While we, folks, we need to make good decisions. We do. And we'll cover all these good decisions as we go forward in time here. Mr. Uman, what do we want to discuss out there? Who is it? It's Heidi. And she says there's a certain sound to the general background noises that change when things are about to go off the rails. I think what she is alluding to is when something bad is about to happen, right? Here she says, being aware of where you don't want to be. I've noticed that a lot of times. It is a sixth sense. All of a sudden, you notice it's too quiet, or it's too loud, or the tone changed, or people's attitudes have changed. The energy around you changes. And I've noticed this, Heidi. I've noticed it on a personal level. And I've also noticed it on a kind of a national or public level, where I just go out in the world and I'm like, it just doesn't feel right. And I can read a few news articles, listen to an interview, and it just doesn't seem right. And there's a lot of that right now that I feel and sense out there. There's something not quite right. Something is off. Like a sneeze, you're waiting for it to happen. Right? Everything else, it seems fine, but you're like, chew, right? Something's going to happen. You can feel it. You can sense it. And, we got all these senses, right? The Democrats love to be offended at the words they hear, right? Or they see a Trump hat. Well, they offend the fuck out of me. I was just thinking about that today. They're always offended at something they hear. What about the offense I see, right? And these liberals, they stink. You can smell them, right? We all have the same senses, and I can sense this thing out there you're talking about. Anyways, keep your eyes open and your ears open, ears to the ground, and we'll see what happens. There's a lot of concern over this FEMA crap going on up in Michigan, and the fact that the Biden administration, at least Blinken, has said that they're going to continue to funnel as much money as they can into Ukraine up and until January 20th. They're going to keep pumping money there. To me, that's odd. Right? That set off my spidey senses. It's like, it's going to change. Trump is going to go in there and say, that's it. We're done killing people. It's time to make some peace. And Putin today, Vladimir Putin, evil Putin who wants to take over the world, said, listen, we'll talk peace if Trump comes and introduces the idea. Right? But the Democrats don't want that. The World Economic Forum and Bilderberg Illuminati types, they don't want that. The banks, they don't want peace. They want war. They need Russia to fail so that they can, go in and offer to loan them money. Of course, there's always a couple strings attached. Sometimes it's a noose around your neck. Anyways, let's continue with the fun. Badass Diving Frog checks in. He says, John, while opening a bank account today, the guy I was talking to was concerned that the billions going to Ukraine are really going to prop up the European Central Bank because it's about to implode. Well, that's interesting. So it sounds like you were talking to a bank teller, obviously pretty low on the whole banking totem pole of power, right? Not part of the Federal Reserve, not part of the Federal Reserve Board, but still interesting that he brought that up. People are becoming, I think, more aware of what's going around, and it's because social media, folks. You and I are the news. YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, right? We're the news now. In fact, Elon Musk said, hey, I think the president ought to issue press passes to media like us so that we can ask questions and we can get the news. Bank manager, John. It was the bank manager. Okay. Cool. Interesting. Well, let's continue with that. Let's get that back up there if we can, the first part, Mr. Diving Frog's comments. Right, he's concerned that billions are going to Ukraine, really going to prop up the European central banks. I've been watching this closely, and yeah, the banks are in trouble. They've continued to be in trouble since the banks failed in September of 2019. checking my watch here. That's 5 years ago that shit really did hit the fan in the banking system. And they've been propping it up ever since then with money printing and just handing money around and kicking the can down the road, playing with interest rates, bullshitting people. And it's worked surprisingly well. It's worked. The question is, how much longer can they do it? Can they do it at all? Right? You can talk about yield curve inversion and interest rates on bonds. They're all indicators, but it is so manipulated now. It's hard to tell, how close we are to everything just crashing down. But the European Central Bank, the Federal Reserve Bank, there's a lot of trouble out there, folks. All you can do is get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Couple that with your plan. That's the best we can do. It is good to watch this, though, because if one bank fails, a lot of times it can result in a cascading effect, a domino effect, if you will. And other banks will fail because these banks are interconnected. They're interconnected. They share customers. They share. It's no longer this bank has your money and it's sitting in that bank over there. Right? All the banks take their capital and they send it into Wall Street and invest it. They put it in the stock market. They're trying to get a big return. And so if one bank fails, let's just talk about Bank of America here in this country. It has an incredible number of short positions in Wall Street. If they get, we'll just use the term underwater, too far behind, they can lose billions and billions of dollars just like that. And the consequences of that is, well, they have a margin call they have to liquidate, and it can cause a chain reaction of problems. Not to mention everyone who's got money in Bank of America now becomes exposed to those toxic investments. And so European Central Bank, they're not any better than we are. Certainly, they don't have quite the what's a good word for this? They don't have the luxury that the United States and the Federal Reserve has, being world reserve currency, but that is coming to an end also. I thought it would fall faster, but it is taking quite a while. Anyways, John, that's very interesting, or Mr. Diving Frog, it's very interesting that your bank manager, John, talked to you about that. I really think it's a money laundering operation, genuinely a money laundering operation. I think a lot of the money goes to politicians, and the rest of it goes to who knows where, right? I don't know if we're ever going to get to find out, that's for sure. Oh, anyways, we got a lot right here in our own country. What do we want to discuss? Let's do this. I want to talk about this. This is interesting. Senator Bill Hagerty went on MSNBC and basically crushed Andrea Mitchell, right? Because she tried all of these different left-wing liberal communist narrative lines. And Senator Bill Hagerty just one after another answered her questions and dropped truth bombs on her. And what I noticed with this is several U.S. senators, as well as many, shall we say, Republican House of Representative members, congressmen, they're starting to come around. They're starting to speak strongly about patriotism, America, freedom, and supporting Trump and supporting us. Even the Senate leader Senator Thune, he's actually talking pretty tough, folks. He's talking very Trumpish, very make America great again. There's an acceptance and acknowledgement verbally from these people that it's our election and we called the win with Trump. And so they need to obey that. They need to honor that. Well, I'm glad they're using the nice words. I'm glad they're speaking strongly, more of them. But we need action, right? I don't want to hear what they have to say for the next 2 to 4 years. I want to see their deeds. I want to see them vote in the Senate for me and you. And already, though, and I like this, already for the senators and Congress peoples who are not stepping up, they're being told you're going to be primaried. We're already working against you. We're selecting people. That's right. Selecting people to put in their place to primary with them and starting to raise money for them as well. Because we're not going to have this shit anymore. I love it. America is woken up. The sleeping dog is finally woken up. He's yawned a little bit, barked a couple of times, and we're going to find out how far we can take this. And the Democrats, oh boy, they are scared to death of you. I just want to let you know that. They're scared to death of you because you're not dumb anymore, right? You're paying attention, right? We're seeing in America what's happening in Europe, right? With their banking system, their politics, their social structure, their rules, their laws. They see us over here, what we're doing. We all have a hell of a fight, folks. So be sure and continue. And that's why I wanted to jump into this one. Be sure and continue to type messages to the U.S. Senate, to Congress and your congressmen and all of them. Just continue to barrage them with the concept and idea of our freedoms and liberties matter the most. That's what their job is supposed to be, is to protect those and make sure the government does its very few jobs well. So I'm hoping that, that the Elon Musk and Vivek and Ron Paul and any others that are brought on board, I hope they continue to follow in Javier the Chainsaw Malay's footsteps and just wipe out bureaucracies, wipe them out. I'm so looking forward to the tears on January 21st as the administration seats itself and decides to make decisions. Anyways, Mr. Uman, we're halfway through the show here. What do we want to discuss? Folks, this weekend, I'm going to get a little relaxing done. I'm going to get a lot of studying done. I'm going to get some exercise, some training done. And it's going to be a good weekend, I think. Cyberhana says, I have my doubts about this selection and the players. I've got a weird feeling about this selection and the players. Are we talking sports? Are we talking politics? I need some names. Give me some names. Because he selected quite a few, right? He selected, I can't remember the fucking guy's name. Trump's picks are fighting back. They're not just allowing themselves to be called names and then taking that shit. Let me try this one here to answer this. Let's keep Cyberhana up here. Right, President Trump chose his personal attorney, John Sauer, to be Solicitor General, to serve under the Attorney General, Matt Gaetz. Right, this guy, John Sauer, is a bulldog. How many attorneys have we seen and heard about that have resigned or given up or plea bargained to Democrat attacks with lawfare? Well, and attorneys just quit working for Trump. They're so afraid. They were so afraid they quit working for Trump. But this guy, John Sauer, did not. So, Bulldog, I don't have my doubts about their willingness to fight. I have a few doubts about what they're all willing to fight for. That's why I want them to talk about the Constitution. I want them to talk about freedoms, liberties, the Bill of Rights. That's what I want them to talk about. Right? That gives me a great deal of confidence. And the other part of this is the liberal tears. The more they cry, the more they complain about any of Trump's nominees, the more they attack. I think it's great. I mean, one of Trump's appointees was attacked and he had one word answer. He called the guy a cuck, which means a man who watches as his wife gets pounded by another man, right? They're just calling him names. They're just giving it to him, right? The liberal tears, the whining and crying, the fear over Matt Gaetz, the fear over Elon Musk. It is incredible. They're very afraid, folks. Now, again, fear is the greatest motivator of all. And right now, the liberals are also injured. They've been beaten bad, beaten back. So they're injured, they're fearful, and they're full of hate and anger. And those, I think, are a big recipe for shit hitting the fan in a new way. There's a lot of calls for violence out there. There's a lot of calls for violence. In fact, a teacher in Connecticut, she threatened online in a video to murder Trump supporters. And then she shows up on TV and starts crying, right? Crying. It's like, bitch, you threatened people. And folks, there was I saw another video of another young lady telling us how she's going to kick our asses right now. I can imagine a 120-pound girl thinking she's going to beat on me. I'm 275, 280 pounds. I'll tell you what, I'm meeting Chin Music for dinner tonight. He's down here in Florida. He's on world tour, and he'll be able to speak a little more intelligently about, right, how I look. Ooh, man, right? We've all met up a lot. It's great. Anyways, what do you really think? 110, 120-pound little girl is going to hurt me or Chin or Ooh, man or Orlando or anybody? No, but they're becoming violent and abusively violent, verbally abusively violent, right? This, like I said, a Connecticut teacher, she's threatening to murder us. I mean, they're also threatening to divorce their husbands, of course, not have sex with anybody, and poison to death, poison us. No more buying coffees, no more buying anything for any of us. We're all done with that, right? I don't trust anybody anymore now. I really don't. But do you remember when teachers actually taught reading, writing, and arithmetic? Well, in Oregon, the state of Oregon, the governor there, they've gotten rid of reading, writing, and arithmetic because it's racist. And they want to make sure that people of color can pass. What a fucking insult to everybody. Whether you're white or black or brown or native or whatever fucking color you are. What an insult. But, teachers used to teach stuff. Now they well, I don't know, right? Now they're violent. They're transsexual freaks. They're communists. They're pedophile groomers. So the question I keep asking is why has anyone in their family go into public schools? Why would you do that now? It is so freaking bad. Anyway, Cyberhana, I get the weird feeling. I get it. You got lots of weird feelings and stuff is going on out there. Oh, little headache there. Woo! But yeah, the weirdness is out there. The threats of violence are out there. I think something's coming at some point. At some point here, and it's not far off, they're going to lose their shit. Big time. Many have that. Well, yeah, that one lady killed her fucking dad with a fucking ice pick, right? Another liberal male killed his current wife, his ex-wife, his kids. They're committing suicide. Yeah, I think we got a lot of things to worry about. Weird feelings, that is probably a good thing to have, right? Your spidey senses, Cyber Honor, saying, I'm not too sure. So yes, I'm very happy on the one hand with everything that's happening with Trump and his appointees, because it is upsetting the left beyond belief. And it's not ending. They can't stop it. Every day they wake up, Trump is still president-elect. He hasn't even started yet. So on the one hand, I've got that very positive idea going, right? And then on the other hand, I'm like, wait a minute, this seems too easy. Right? It seems too easy, kind of like Darcy T was saying. Seems too easy, right? I don't know. I don't think it was that easy. I think that a lot of energy has been expended, a lot of effort has been expended, and that's what made it easy because we're all prepared up here. Woo! Okay. Before we get to the next question, I've got something I wanted to throw out here. FBI director. No one has been appointed. No one has been selected. No one has been has gotten an open, shall we say, green light on that. Mike Rogers is under consideration for that, but I think that's misdirection, right? I really, I know that Trump keeps doing this, right? There's a lot of talk about this person over here, then they pick someone else, and then all the crying and whining, and he's not qualified, and he's inexperienced, and he's not serious, and he's got problems. Yeah, it's bullshit. But where is Kash Patel going to end up? Right? He has a huge support base. He's hardcore. He says what he thinks. Where is Kash Patel going to end up? Or is he going to be like a second string quarterback, injured reserve? I don't know. It's very possible. And one of my people I love to listen to just because he's very dry and crass and a little bit overly nerdy intellectual is Sebastian Gorka, right? Now, see, if you had said, John, we're going to bring RFK Jr. into the administration, I'd be like, are you fucking stupid? Right? But no, Trump picks out the one thing that he wants him to be good at, that he agrees with, and that's your role over there. That's your job, right? Sets him down. So, right, if you have a problem with any one of these people, understanding that they're being picked and put into a position because they're filling a very specific niche that needs to happen. So I'm wondering, where are all these people going to go? At first I was thinking, holy shit, right? Where is he going to get the people he needs? Especially since last time he got crapped on so much. He did. I found it interesting, of course, that Nikki Haley and who was that other fella? Dang, I already forgot. Anyways, they were allowed to campaign in the final couple of days of the rallies up before the election. And then they were told, sorry, we appreciate you you're helping out, but you don't get to be part of the administration. Nikki Haley just sticks to my mind because she's such a bitch. And then she actually ended up shitting on Trump again after she didn't get an appointment within his administration. It's going to be fun, folks. It is going to be fun. I mean, we've got all kinds of trouble. Another one that's bringing about a lot of tears, and then let me do this one. I'll get back to you guys and your questions. Pete Hegseth, who's been tapped as the Secretary of Defense. Oh boy, right? John Brennan, all these mouthpieces in the media, they don't like him at all, right? They don't. They've now leaked information. Someone has leaked information about Pete Hegseth, right? In fact, Susie Wiles, the chief of staff for Trump, was told, hey, there's an allegation that Pete has engaged in sexual misconduct. Not misconduct. Number one, that's been swept aside, taken care of, done. It's another smear. But what is a little bit of sexual misconduct when you weigh it against Jeffrey Epstein and all his clients going to his island, a known pedophile, a convicted pedophile who's had a bunch of sexual miscreants go to his island, right? Hillary, Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, and God knows how many others. They're worried about a little sexual misconduct, right? I mean, what's sexual misconduct? Did he make a joke about a penis? Or did he mention something like a sausage and someone got offended? Well, I mean, is a little sexual misconduct as bad as P. Diddy's sex slaves and his pedophilia allegedly out there? How about all of Hunter's hookers? Is a little sexual misconduct as bad as Hunter snorting cocaine off a hooker's ass? Or what about congressional orgies? You want to talk about a party of wickedly evil people bumping uglies? That's disgusting. But we have to worry about sexual misconduct, right? what it is, it's hypocritical bullshit, an attempt to smear Pete Hegseth and to smear Trump and his efforts. It is incredible to me that we're just supposed to just ignore all the other things we know about. Just fucking ignore them and then get worried about sexual misconduct, right? Bill Clinton sodomizes. If you look up the version of what sodomy means, you'll get it, right? Sodomizes Monica Lewinsky, an intern, an underling, an underpowered, underprivileged person. He took advantage of her. BJs and who knows what else. You've got homosexual flaggots in Senate butt pounding each other. And we're supposed to worry about Pete Hegseth had a misconduct. Really? That's the big worry here. Jesus. These people are a bunch of freaks. And we're supposed to get all upset over a sexual misconduct allegation that has already been disproven. Okay, Uman says Hegseth had two things. One was a sexual harassment complaint. The other was from some crazy old lady saying he had a swastika tattooed on his chest. Apparently, the patch of the 187th Infantry. Boo-hoo. Let me start with the tattoo first. It's a large tattoo. It's on his chest, his right side of his chest, above the nipple, and it's a type of cross. It is one cross, a big one with four little ones in each corner. Doesn't look anything like a swastika. Looks nothing like a swastika. It is a Knights Templar, ancient knight type cross. It's been adopted by his infantry unit, and he got it tattooed on his chest. It doesn't look anything like a swastika. It's ridiculous. But yeah, the other thing, this sexual harassment complaint. Folks, when I did my 10 years with the corporate world, I had numerous sexual harassment complaints. They go up to HR and they go, I don't like what John is doing. That's their sexual harassment complaint. Well, what did John do? Well, when I see John, he talks to pretty women. And that just makes me feel uncomfortable. That is sexual harassment, folks. Anytime someone else feels uncomfortable and ascribes it to some sexual feelings of theirs, in other words, a bunch of liberal crybabies who are confused about what sexuality is and jealous, they go complain about it. That's a sexual harassment complaint. I had another one. I went to the had a bar, right? And there were three attractive young ladies there, and I went up and started talking to them because they're the only ones at the bar. I wanted to make sure they were having a good time, that they were getting good service. And my boss actually goes, John, buy him some drinks. I go, dude, I cannot buy them drinks. He said, no, go ahead and buy him drinks. I said, Gary, I'm not allowed to buy them drinks. It's against the law. And he just kept fucking with me, right? And I turn around and there's three sourpuss frowns on three very unattractive coworkers who hated my guts. And they went up and complained and that's a sexual harassment complaint. Unfucking believable. That's sexual harassment because they felt uncomfortable that I was talking to three women. What's wrong with talking? Well, they're attracted. I go, oh, what? Does anyone noticing complain when I talk to unattractive people? Isn't that fat shaming? These, they're hypocrites and liars and they're full of shit. It was hilarious though, right? I just said, really, I'm not allowed to talk to women. Am I allowed to talk to men? Am I allowed to? So I should be allowed to talk to women. Right now today I go, I didn't know they were women. I didn't assume their gender, right? I didn't make any assumptions about that. And by the way, I just happen to be a woman myself, right? So how could it be sexual at all? Well, it's not what you do, John. It's how other people feel about it. So this sexual harassment complaint, yeah, it was bullshit. I'm sure of it. Everything about these fucking people is bullshit. Really. But when it comes to, you want some real problems? Uman says, when you look for Nazis everywhere, you see Nazis everywhere. Yeah. The other day, I saw some Nazis. I tied my shoes in little Nazis. And look out. Bump, bump, bump. A dad joke, right? But these people, they're the ones with bad conduct. Epstein's clients, release the list. P. Diddy's sex slaves, pedophilia, his sex party list, get them out there. Hunter's hookers, Hunter's apparently alleged underage girls with chests and butts so flat they had to be 10 fucking years old. Where's their outrage there? Congressional orgies, once again, I cannot imagine the flab just flopping everywhere. Good golly. And they want to complain about Pete Hegseth, who, by the way, yes, 2 Bronze Stars, combat veteran, an officer. He's got a couple of degrees in college. He's a very intelligent man. We can't have that. Very scary. So, yeah, they're going to throw everything they can at him, including calling him a Nazi. And he does have blonde hair. It's not as blonde as mine, naturally. I just want to let everyone know. He's a blonde, but he's not a platinum blonde. Anyways, yeah, he looks like one of Hitler's wet dreams, right? Blonde, white, blue-eyed, yada, yada. Of course, they're going to scream Nazi, idiots. Anyways, that was fun. Let's continue if we shall. Chin Music says, Matt Guest, best answer ever. When asked if his comments about ugly women who can't get laid, being pro-abortion, being offended by his comments, he said, he was asked, the reporter said, what do you think about people that would be offended by your comment? He said, be offended. It was just, it's great. In fact, I've got a link I'm going to look at later where somebody, I guess, has compiled some Matt Getz statements. And apparently Megyn Kelly has a quite a good piece out that she has done explaining why Matt Getz is perfect for the job. Perfect for the job. And the idea that you have to have some old, crusty piece of shit, washed up, has-been, sellout politician be the attorney general like Jeff Sessions or Bill Barr or Merrick the Buttlick Garland. No. I mean, Obama had Eric Holder, a giant sack of shit, as his. And JFK had his younger brother appointed. No, I mean, I guess what if Donald Trump wanted Donald Trump Jr. to be his attorney general? Would they scream nepotism? You can't do that. You can't have family. But JFK did it. And they were so good at scaring the powers that be that they assassinated both of them. Anyways, yeah, be offended. You know, it's time to quit. In fact, I read an interesting piece today. I shared it with Uman and a few others about being offended, about being bullied. And it said, actually, bullies are a good thing. Bullies are good. Now, just follow me here. Bullies are good because what did they do? Bullies helped people stay in line. If someone started getting out of line, being an idiot, being a numbskull, right? Bully would pick on them, get them right back in line. What happened? They quit doing bullies, and now we got kids showing up at school thinking they're fucking cats and dogs and wanting to shit in a sandbox. You got boys showing up as girls, raping girls in rooms, right? In locker rooms, in the bathrooms, playing girl sports because no one's beating them up. No one's bullying these idiots. Right? You got these trans idiots out there threatening people. My own son, who, by the way, was never assaulted by one of these dumb fucks, had a trans girl who thought she was a boy threaten him with sexual assault. Fucking ridiculous, right? And of course, like I said, nothing happened. It was just a bunch of bullshit talk. But they get away with it, and no one's allowed to bully them. That is, slap them back into line. And folks, when I went to school, that happened all the time. Someone wanted to be an idiot. They wanted to be different and unusual and stand out in such a way that they offended everybody. The bully's like, I'll take care of this, right? I got bullied a lot. You bet I did, right? I had an older sister, and all the guys who wanted to date her, well, they figured quickest way into her panties was to throw me in a garbage can. And so, I fucking constantly fighting for my fucking life. It was great. It hurt a lot. At the time, it wasn't very funny, but as an adult, you can see the good of it, right? You've got to learn to fight. Then life isn't fair. You're going to get bullied. You're going to get beat up. Get prepared mentally for it. And then I carried that into life, right? Here we are. We're getting bullied by government. We're getting bullied by the left. We're getting bullied by teachers, bullied by politicians, bullied by everybody. And what are we doing? We're fighting back. And it's fucking awesome because we're winning. I love to win. It makes me a very happy guy. Now, I want to do this one real quick, Mr. Uman. A Democrat congressman has openly revealed that he wants to form a shadow administration. That's right. He wants to form an anti-Trump administration within the government, a shadow government. And then he named individuals who will find the Trump cabinet member that they can undermine and do everything they can to undermine them. Now, I admit, politics is politics. Free speech is free speech. But if it becomes subversive, right? This to me, it already borders on being subversive action, right? Talking about undermining the cabinet, which is undermining the government, which undermines our freedom, our national security, our liberties, our lives, right? Now, the Democrats, folks, they're really that fucking stupid and that brazen to come out and say this. But all I've got to say is, if they are criminal, even for a moment, they need and will be prosecuted. No warnings. I don't want any fucking warnings. No more warning shots. Just fucking arrest them and haul them off. Kind of like that stupid bitch. I think it was up in Michigan. Was it Michigan or was it Pennsylvania? Fuck, I can't remember now. She's part of the Secretary of State's board that oversees elections. She said, we know what the law says. We know what the judges and the courts are ruling, that we can't do this. But guess what? We're going to disobey them and disobey the law and do what we want anyway. I think it was it Michigan or Pennsylvania? Fuck, I can't remember. But it turns out that the senator ended up winning his seat. I think it was Pennsylvania. In any event, folks, they're willing to break the law brazenly. Guess what? Matt Gaetz needs to go after that bitch and that board right away. Right away. Dereliction of duty, as far as I'm concerned, is a criminal offense as soon as someone's injured. You know what a good Samaritan law is, right? There's rules out there that say you have to be a good Samaritan. If you have an opportunity to help someone who needs it, you're supposed to help them. In fact, I think they ended the Seinfeld show on Jerry and Kramer and Elaine and George all getting thrown in jail because they watched someone get beat up and didn't take any action to help them. It was a pretty funny episode, but the point is you're supposed to help people. If you don't, you can get in trouble for it. And I find it interesting that they have that law, but it's there, it's out there, it's part of our world. You're supposed to be good. You do things bad, someone gets hurt, you should get. We got some weird times coming, folks. Weird times coming, like when James Carville, aka Serpent Head, right? He said to the liberals today, "Get your asses out of Washington." Right? He's calling Democrats elitist identitarians. They made up a new word there, identitarians, because of their retarded identity politics. He had lots of cussing from Serpent Head about the elite idiots having wine and cheese parties. And he probably should have gone a little further and talked about their homosexual orgies they have. And they've lost all their power, or at least a good portion of it, because they've been just fucking around, thinking they own the country. In any event, folks, shit has hit the fan. They're not giving up the Democrats. They won't go away. They won't get out of town. They won't get their asses out of Washington, as suggested. They're going to start causing trouble and throwing sticks in the spokes, lying, cheating, stealing, and doing the things they do. What we need is someone like Matt Getz. What we need is a Justice Department. What we need is people enforcing the law so that when they break it, they instantly pay, right? Fuck around, find out. Oh man, we're almost out of time here. Have we got some more good stuff out there? And we do. And man says, and if you help them, you can be thrown in jail too. Remember the Marine in New York City? Yeah, I believe his name is Perry. Anyways, no, I fucked that one up. That name stuck in my head for some reason. I read about him today. They're continuing to release information about the former Marine who was on a New York City subway. And there were women on the train, as usual. And there was a black criminal who was threatening people. And I know they wanted to turn this into a big race deal because the man who was arrested, right, was a former Marine and he was white. But the people he was rescuing and protecting from this idiot criminal, there were black women and Asian women, all kinds of people. This guy was becoming very violent, very threatening. So he subdued him until the police showed up and he was still alive. And the chest cameras, right, the video cameras the police wear, right, show people talking about how he saved them, rescued them, helped them. He was a good Samaritan, right? And the perpetrator, the criminal, was still alive when the police got there. He died afterwards, and they wanted to blame the Marine for doing his job, being a good Samaritan. So, yeah, kind of like arresting St. George Floyd while he was having a fentanyl meltdown and overdose issue. And so I guess it's kind of like musical chairs. The last person to touch the person that dies gets blamed. It's that kind of world. It really is. In any event, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you all good night. Sunday Night Live, though, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to have some fun, folks. Some big, crazy shit's going to happen this weekend. Democrats are going to fight back. They're going to come out in mainstream media. They're going to bring their new strategies out, which are going to be bullshit. They're going to be absolute bullshit. They're going to keep lying. It's going to be a beautiful thing. They're going to step in it. Remember, every time they try fucking with Trump, it just gets worse for them, right? He's ahead of them several moves. They don't realize that there's a counter move to their move that makes them look dumb. It is going to get interesting. If they had anything on Trump, they had played it already. It's important to remember. They don't have anything on Trump. They don't have anything on Elon Musk. They don't have anything on any of these people. And when you hear about it, there's a sexual allegation. Well, Matt Getz was accused by a guy who was trying to extort $25 million out of his family, and he was exonerated from that. But they're trying to make hay with it, and it ain't happening. It's going to be entertaining, folks. But through all of this, there's a big and very real risk of a false flag occurring. A false flag occurring. A mass casualty event, if you will. There's a big risk of that. So eyes open. Have what you need to be prepared. And I'll see you guys Sunday at the zoo.